them? Yeah. Yesterday we created a major which is not here, so I will go through it just again. Like I want to have total sales. So new quick major. Everyone here in the class, right? I am selecting running total because the sum function is running total, which we covered yesterday. Any problem to anyone, please feel free to ask. Sales. And okay. So this is my major, which is total sales. Another way of creating a major is click on profit, and then you can go to new major where you are using sum function for total profit. So I'm using total profit is equal to sum of revenue stable profit, this one, and I have the sum of profit, right? Now I want to calculate profit margin. So this is my total profit, new major. Profit margin is equal to total profit divided by running total of sales. Enter, and this profit margin I'm going to major tools converting into the percentage, right? We have good enough things here.
Yeah.
Right now, guys, we will start talking about the business problems as well, and in between somewhere I will keep taking the small concepts, right? Okay, so now if I'm giving you a business problem, like for example, this is the data set I'm giving to all of you, right? And I'm your manager and you are working on the analysis of this data, right? Now the question is, I'm asking to all of you, are my top 5 customers profitable? What is your understanding out of this question?
We should calculate before telling to the client.
That's okay, but what is the question? Like, are my top 5 customers profitable? So basically, I'm asking you the top 5 customers on the basis of sales, are they giving me the equally good profit also? This is the question, right?
Yeah.
Right? What if Hitesh, you going to the store, making the sales for that store of 50,000, 60,000, but at the end of the day the store is suffering with loss on your sale? Will they ever want you back as a customer? No.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is a very important analysis. Like the top 5 customers we are declaring, these are our top 5 customers. Are they equally good with the profit part as well? So this is the question. How will you do it? How will you resolve it? And when we are asking business questions in Power BI, we are answering in form of a visual. We're not supposed to make any detailed report or thesis or something else. No, your answer should be done with a visual, single visual or maximum 2 visuals. So how will you solve this? Anyone from the group? See, from this session, guys, we are moving to a lot of discussion around business problems, what is happening in the industry, how to analyze data, and all that part. So I will hope that everybody is supposed to participate, because then only you would be able to learn. I would be giving you a lot of things to solve yourself first, so that I can know where you are in terms of understanding. Then only I would be able to correct you, right?
Yeah.
Only listening is not going to help now. So now tell me how we can answer this question. So basically, first of all, you need to understand which all are the columns, information, which would be useful for you. So profit and sales and customer name, right? Guys, there is a lot of noise behind someone. Can you please mute yourself? Okay, thank you. So basically, if I am talking about profit, because I need to check the profit of those 5 customers, top 5 customers, I need sales and of course the customer names, because we are talking about the top 5 customers, right? So if I am taking a visual where I'm plotting customer name, sales and profit, what will happen? For example, I'm taking this one, this first one. I am taking customer name, right? Then I'm taking profit and sales. And I want top 5 customers on the basis of sales. So I'm coming to customer name. I'm saying top 5 customers on the basis of sales. So I have applied that filter also. Now, is this answering your question? So basically, how will you check? you will check that this customer has given me this sales. This light blue is sales, dark blue is profit, right? Can you see the denominations here, color denominations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can read it like, you know, this is the sale and this is the profit. In this case, the sale is very, very high, but he has given me very, very small profit, right? Not even profit. This is loss. Can you see? This is coming on the left-hand side of the zero line,
Minus.
right? So this is a loss, right? Same for second one. He has given me so many sales and kind of 1/3 profit. I'm just saying 1/3 on the basis of what I can see in this graph. Actual calculation we have not done, right? It looks like 1/3 of this entire bar to me, at least. Same with this, Raymond. It looks like 1/3 profit. With Tom, it's looking like 1/4. And with Andrian also, it's looking like somewhere around less than 1/3. Like that? Like that, right, guys?
Yes.
But is it sufficient? I mean, this is the way we should answer. No. Who will calculate this? If this is 1/3, 1/4, or what? Our manager is not going to do this. He will expect us to do this for him already in the visual. Then how to proceed? So basically, what will we do, guys? This is the wrong visual. All of you agree on this point? This is not the correct way of doing it.
Yes.
This is not a clear analysis. So this time I am taking these charts. These charts are nothing but combo charts where we have bars also, we have line also, right? So I'm taking this one, and here I am taking customer name and sales. So these are my all customers. So again, I will put the filter top 5 on the basis of sales. And these are my top 5 customers and their sales very, very clearly. Now guys, for example, two of you, like Hitesh, you and Lakshman, you both are friends. You went to the superstore, and Hitesh, you bought the grocery for 1,000 rupees, where store earned 500 as profit, and Lakshman, you bought the grocery for 1,500, and on your order as well, store made the profit of 500. Who is a better customer, Hitesh or Lakshman?
Hitesh.
Hitesh,
For
why?
point of view, yeah.
Why, Hitesh?
He got 50%.
50%. So what you calculated? Profit margin?
Exactly.
50% is profit margin. So in this case, when we need to understand the relationship between profit and sales, why to take profit and sales separately? Why can't we take this relationship, profit margin, in the chart? What happened now? I am sorting it on the basis of profit margin, and now I can see the customer who has given me the highest sales has given me the loss, and I have the percentage of loss as well, minus 7.91%, right? And the person or the customer who has given me the highest profit margin, this is the highest profit margin point. And what is the highest profit margin? 47.14%. And who has given it to us? The customer who has given me the second highest sales. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5, right? Right?
Yes.
So this is the right way of showing this analysis, guys. So this is the way you have to think in DEX. If you need to find out, if you need to show the relationship or the effect of each other, I mean between 2 or 3 points or whatever, first of all, you try to create something out of it. Like here on the basis of profit and sales, we actually calculated profit margin, and we have not plotted profit here, but profit margin, because that is giving you the correct position of each and everything has been asked in the question. How many of you are convinced that this is the correct way of doing this analysis? Anyone who is not convinced and have something else in mind, no, we should not do this like this, but there is some other way, please come up. Anyone, guys? I'm assuming everyone is good with this, right?
Yes.
And yesterday I showed to you that every measure is dynamic. Like this profit margin, when we calculated yesterday, I showed you that we can see a matrix where we have category wise profit margin, subcategory wise profit margin, ship mode wise, region wise, country wise, state wide. And again, we have used the same measure here also. So basically you need to write this formula once and you can use it n number of times in a single report in Power BI, right? So basically this is a formula, this is not a value, and this is dynamic. Understood what a measure is? And because it is a formula, it will not be stored anywhere in the table. Nothing. Now guys, one more thing. I'm coming to this section, right? What all we have here? We have a new other option called new column. What will happen? If I'm clicking on new column and I have a sales, I have profit, I want to calculate cost. What is the formula? Sales minus profit is the formula for cost. I'm writing cost is equal to sales minus profit. Right? And I'm pressing enter and I got this new column with the name cost, where the cost has been calculated for each and every row. And because this is not a measure, this is a column, so we have the table updated, right? Everyone,
Yes.
right? Can you see the difference in the symbol? The measure has a calculator, the calculated column. This is a calculated column, guys. The name is calculated column. When you are putting the cursor on this, it is showing you column tools, not measure tools. And the sign is a table where a particular column has been highlighted, and in front of that there is a submission sign. It means calculated column. Understood the meaning of the sign? Correct? Now when we are coming to the report canvas, here we have this column added here. But if we are going to Power Query and checking the revenue table, here actually the original data sheet has been moved from the desktop, so it is not able to locate it. Very nice. Let me just put that again. Actually I installed Windows 11 today and edit query. I will change the path. Data source setting, change source, browse, desktop, this one. Okay, close. Working fine, right? So when we are coming to the revenue table here, we do not have cost column here. So basically our original data set is not getting changed, and the changes which you are able to see here with respect to calculated column are report level change. Understood, everyone? These are the things which are asked in the interview when you are going for Power BI interview. These small things. Guys, I'm telling you, the advanced concepts are not important for interview, but the very basic ones. Because if these are strong for you, you will crack the advanced level for sure. Understood the difference? So basically these changes which we are making here through calculated column, these are report level changes. So your original data set is not getting changed. Clear, everyone?
Yeah.
So this is a calculated column and this is a measure. Now I will take you through some of the theory
So,
part. Yes.
how do we decide that whatever we should done in Excel query and what we do on Power BI index? How to bifurcate what to be done here and what to be done there?
Between what? Power BI and X.
Yeah.
See, if you are able to do your required analysis through Power BI, well and good. Because whenever you are using any measure or any calculated column, it's consuming extra memory. It's putting a lot of pressure on Power BI engine, right?
Okay.
So first of all, prefer Power BI, and the questions, the business problems you're not able to solve without formula, then you have to use DEX.
Okay.
So always prefer Power BI, but Power BI is not giving you any capability to do any kind of calculations. In Power BI, what you are doing, whatever data has been given to you as base data, you are just creating visuals out of it. So if I'm ask you like what you learned in Power BI, so probably you will say that the creation of visuals in Power BI, the environment, how we can use Power BI, how we can clean the data, how we can transform the data, and probably the right selection of visuals, right? This is what you learned, right? And that was the aim. Now in DEX, I'm teaching you how to manipulate data, because without calculations, data analysis is not possible at all. When we are saying we are data analyst, it means we know the calculations. We know how to check the dependency of each and every factor on each other in the data set, right? Have I answered your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So when we are talking about DEX, data analysis expression, so how this name has been given? So basically the expression we write to analyze the data. Understood, everyone? Yeah. And why the tagline is unleash the capabilities of Power BI? Because when we are learning only Power BI, we are actually not unleashing the entire capabilities of Power BI. When we are doing DAX, then only we are actually recognizing and understanding the whole capabilities of Power BI. And you will realize it at the end of two more sessions. I will ask everyone, what was the difference between Power BI and DAX? How the course is going to proceed basically. So I will help you with some of the theory concepts, basically concepts building, right? I will tell you the applications and usage of each and every business scenario we would be solving. We have somewhere around 20-21 business scenarios. So we'll see how much we can cover in next two sessions and today. There is a myth that Power BI is only for finance department. No, you can apply Power BI index on all the departments on any data set. At the end of this, there would be a capstone project. It means you need to take some data set, either from your own company where you are working. And if you are a student, then I will guide you on some sources from where you can pick up the dummy data. Then you would be doing all the analysis, everything on the data set which has been taught in the class. You would be submitting your project to me within 15 days or 20 days of this batch over. I would be reviewing it, giving you the feedback, and then you will get the certificate. Right? So this is the kind of assessment we have for all of you. Apart from this, I would be giving you the list of all the 328 DEX functions so that you can refer and use them easily. And there are some other concepts, most useful character codes as well. So if time permits, we will cover that. So basically, what is DEX, guys? So DEX was developed by SSAS team in Microsoft in 2009. So DEX is not new, guys. In 2009, Microsoft actually launched a tool with the name SQL Server Analysis Services, and in that tool, it used the DEX language. And it liked the DEX language a lot, and DEX language were very, very successful in the market. This is the reason the same language has been used in Power BI again in 2014. Right? DAX stands for data analysis expressions. It is a query language. People think that we need to do programming in Power BI. No, there is no programming. It's a query language or it's a formula language. It's not a new language. So basically this particular language has a copyright by Microsoft. Microsoft can use it in any of its product. Like it has used DAX in Power BI, Power Pivot, SSAS, and in future also it might possible that Microsoft is coming up with some new tools and it is reusing the same language. Right? DAX is not a programming language. It's a very, very concise language. And in simpler terms, DAX helps you to create new information from the data already in your model. Very right. Till the time you're not going to apply any calculation, you will not have anything new in your data set. Right, everyone? Yes or no? Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Why should you learn DAX? Why you should not stop only at Power BI and you are done? The question one female asked 2 minutes back. Whole new world. Basically, it is showing you a whole new world. So when I showed you one very, very basic demo of a major and calculated column, did you find any difference than Power BI? What is the difference you felt? We have done just one case. We will proceed in some time. Tell me, guys, what is the difference you felt when we switched
We
from?
calculated profit margins and top 5 customer sales.
Yes. So what is the
Only the
change we
difference.
felt? So basically, actually now we are able to do advanced analysis. That was not advanced analysis. What we were doing before, we were just understanding Power BI environment and creating the visuals out of the basic data set we have in hand, right? Do you think there would be any client in any MNC who, along with the sales and profit, will give you the profit margin and other stuff also in the table also? No. So that is your responsibility. Get the most out of your data, of course. If you are not performing any calculation, you are just doing very, very basic analysis and you are not going into the complete insights. Solve real business problems that affect your bottom line. So basically, there are two lines in every business. One is top line, another one is bottom line. Top line is your sales, bottom line is your net income. So whichever business, a small business, koi bhi choti si dukaan or a big business house, everyone has just two aims. What are those two aims? Increase your sales, increase your profits, right? No one is sitting there in the market for the charity part, right, everyone? So when I would be giving you the business cases, you need to think from that perspective, that I need to increase my sales, I need to increase my profit. When you would be joining or already working in MNC, everyone is paying you because they want you to earn for them, right? If you are not serving that purpose, you will not be with that company anymore. It happens, right, guys? You all have experienced, right, people? So management friendly and visually interactive reports we can create using DEX. So we can use DEX to make your reports attractive as well. Like using some formulas, we can input symbols as well in the report. You want to create a heart next to a figure, you can even do that. Any weird symbol. Like in stock market, have you seen those bull symbols and all that in the those charts where you are looking the price hikes and falls? वो एक भैंसा बना होता है, right? You can create even that as well. So it is such a powerful language, right? What are the prerequisites? So basically you need to know basic to intermediate Power BI, which you have. Report generation, you already know. Correct visual selection capability, I'm assuming you should have developed now, because I covered a lot of cases in Power BI so that I can tell you which visual to use in which situation. And the fourth one, learning DEX is hard. It requires different way of thinking. So you have to think that way, like I am thinking as of now. This is one biggest learning you need to take from me in next 3 sessions. Right? If you can understand how the control is flowing at the back end, how your databases have been maintained and all that, then you can put a formula very, very easily. So don't worry, I will help you to do that. The only one request to all of you, if you will not reply back in the class, if you will not try my questions, you will not be able to pick that path. So please participate, everyone, right? So what is DEX good at? So guys, whenever we have a new tool in the market, it is not good for everything. Agree? Like one tool cannot do everything for you. There should be some plus and minus for that. Yes or no, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to understand where DEX good at and where DEX not good at. We need to understand those points so that we can use it where it is good at, leaving the disadvantage aside, right? So basically DEX is good in 2 points. What are those points? Aggregations and filtering. Aggregations is like we are doing sum, count, right? So basically when you have multiple inputs and the output is one result, like taking the count, taking the sum, taking the average, understood? All that is called aggregation, correct? What is filtering? Like you are going on, for example, you are in Excel sheet, you are going at the top near the columns, you are putting filter for one particular subcategory or for a category or for a particular customer or ship mode. That is filtering, simple filtering, right? So what is the common point in these two factors, aggregations and filtering? The common point is you are accessing the table vertically, right? Just think it and tell me yes or no. You are not accessing the table horizontally, you are accessing the table vertically. Whenever you are doing any aggregation or you are putting any filter on the table, how you are accessing the table, vertically or horizontally?
Vertically.
Vertically. So
Vertically.
you need to understand DAX is good for vertical access, number one. And now you understood the reason why we followed a star schema. Because in a star schema, we have very, very less number of columns when we are making subtables out of that bigger table. Correct? You guys are already done with the star schema, so you can understand it now. So every dimension and fact table has very, very less number of columns, 4, 5, but we could not do anything with respect to the number of rows, right? So this is the reason, because DAX is not good horizontally. So we are preferring less number of columns in the tables and n number of rows. Rows is not a problem. What DAX is not good at? So sometimes what happened, some managers are very, very weird. Very, very frankly, don't mind if anyone is manager here. So what happens, like for example, Hitesh, you are an HR manager, right? Hitesh would be like, this lady is after my life. So Hitesh, you are an HR manager and you are maintaining the attendance sheet of all your employees in Excel sheet, right? Yes or no? You hearing? Hitesh, you there in the meeting? Hello?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Yeah.
No problem. So you are an HR manager and you are noting down the attendance of your teams, all the company in an Excel sheet, right?
Yeah.
Then at the end of the quarter, what you do, you are telling to the person who is analyzing data on your behalf that analyze this data in Power BI. So what that guy will do, he will import your Excel sheet in Power BI and analyze the data for you.
Yeah.
But you are like that, why to import the data in Power BI? Start maintaining the standard attendance in Power BI itself. Is it possible? No. Can you go to Power BI every day and using the Power Query, can you mark the attendance of each and every employee? Not possible.
No, not
So
possible.
basically, do not think like this. So it's not an operational reporting tool. Do not use Power BI for that. A lot of people are doing it for that. It's not good for that, right? White tables. Dex never prefers white table. This is the reason we follow star schema and we have very, very less number of columns in each and every table. Rows is not a problem. Many to many relationships, you have already seen that we always prefer that all the dimension tables have just one primary key, not multiple, so that we have one to many relationship. So many to many relationships are not supported by DAX at all. So these are the areas where you will not be able to use Power BI properly, and these are the areas where DAX is going to rock. So any vertical access is good to go with Power BI, right? How would be the learning curve of this training session? So basically, what is a scalar function? So scalar function is the first step in DAX. So as the functionality increases, the difficulty is going to increase for sure, right? So scalar function is where we have multiple inputs and the output is a single figure like sum, count, and average, right? This is the very, very basic index which we have already covered. So are you guys clear with sum function? Same way you can use count function, same way you can use average function and other functions. Okay, everyone? Then we have calculated columns, which we have done. Then we have measures, which we have done. So these are the very, very basic of text. Now we will move to filtering and go till upper level. Everyone. Before that, I will show you 2-3 more things and then we would be moving to the practical part. So this is one very, very important thing you should know. What is the difference between calculated column and measure, right? So we have done it practically. Now it would be very, very easy for us to understand the theory part. It expands a table by adding columns as a defined by the formula. Simple, right? This is what we did. We defined the formula like how Power BI engine needs to calculate the value, and then it gave us the value in each and every row for the entire column. Correct? Correct, guys? Please reply.
Yeah.
What is a measure? Measure summarizes all the data into a single value. So basically, it's a formula. When you should use calculated column, when you should measures. So calculated column is ideal for detailed information. Why detailed? Because it is giving you a value for each and every row. And why measure is where we should use measure? Ideal for analytical and summary information. It is giving, not giving you the those single or detailed information, but giving you the totals. Like when we plotted a matrix with subcategory and profit margin, it's giving me profit margin for each and every subcategory, not for each and every product or any row. It's not detailed, it's a summary, right? So whenever we are refreshing our Power BI report, these calculated columns are calculating each and every row's value again and again on each and every refresh. So can you imagine how much load it is putting on Power BI engine, guys? Because as of now, we have like 10,000 rows in the data. In future, like for example, after a year, we would be adding 12 months data more in the same data set. It's going to become heavy day by day. So if we are refreshing the report every time, the calculated columns value is getting computed and it is putting a lot of load on the Power BI engine. So this is the reason calculated column is never preferred and we are always going for measures. I never use calculated column. And how measure is putting a load on the Power BI engine? So whenever we are plotting a visual, like for example, in front of you, I created a matrix. I took subcategory and profit margin. There only at the runtime of that visual, it is computing that value. So it's putting very less load on Power BI engine as compared to calculated columns. Understood, everyone? Yeah.
Yes.
Calculated columns are stored in the table. It is not stored, it is stored in temporary memory because it is a formula and this is a value, right? Calculated columns performs horizontal calculations. Measures are performing vertically. Is that fine? Understood, everyone?
Yes.
Right? Limited by row context. What is it? So basically, it is calculating the value for each and every row. And how it is calculating the value? On the basis of the filter. Which filter? So when I created a matrix putting subcategory with profit margin, so that filter is subcategory. When I'm creating a matrix taking category with profit margin, that category is the filter. So whatever other column I am taking along with the measure, that is the kind of filter for profit margin. Understood? Understood, everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a very, very important table. I think this is asked a lot in the interview. The thing is, guys, like all our learners are always connected to us, always. Like you guys would be always getting back to us for all your queries and everything. If you will like the course, probably you will come again for some other course or to take a refresher or something else. It happens, right? We always believe in networking. So what happens? The learners who are coming back to us, they are always giving us the feedback, and on the basis of their feedback, we are regularly updating our content. This is one thing E4S is doing, right? So we have updated this content on the basis of that feedback only. Like one of our candidate went for the interview, he came back, they asked this and all that. So we included all those interview questions in the content so that we are helping future learners, right? So this is very, very good for you. This is one of the questions which was asked in the interview, like tell us the 5-6 differences between a calculated column and measures. So this is what you can remember and tell them, right? Apart from this, when you are going to Microsoft website here, for example, I'm writing calculate function in DEX. So when you go here, in the left hand side, you will notice we have the list of all the DEX functions. Can you see this? DEX functions? Right? If you open this, you will get the category of DEX functions: aggregation functions, date and time functions, filter function, financial information, logical. Can you see the kind of functions we have? Time intelligence, text, table, and you open this subfolder again. For example, you are opening a filter functions, you will get all the filter functions. Look at the variety we have. So this way, if you total out, these are 328 functions, right? So for example, you want to apply calculate functions and you are new to DEX, you are not aware how to use it. Now in the training, I cannot cover all the 328 functions. No trainer can do that, right? For this, you have to take like very, very long training. So what is the way of learning those functions which have not been explained by the trainer? So basically, this is the name of the function. You can save this link. This is the definition, like what it does. What is the syntax, like how to write it, right? If you need to take care of some point, it would be here in form of note. What are the parameters, like what is the expression, what is filter 1, filter 2, everything explained here, right? And then in the bottom, you would be finding one solved example of the same function with proper example. Like this is the table. If you write this, this would be the output like that. So this is a very, very good link being published by Microsoft, where it has talked about each and every function, and it's very, very helpful. If you are new, you can really go through this and learn a lot of DEX functions here. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff you have here. And do not save these functions anywhere in any sheet, because this list gets always, updated. So if you'll save it somewhere and refer to that, so probably you're not saving the updates with you, correct? So always refer this link. You can mark as a bookmark in your laptop for the same. Okay, everyone, can we proceed now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just give me a second. I'm giving you some business problems. You all are supposed to do a kind of group discussion also, if you prefer to do that, and then you can solve that. Give me a second. I'm coming back. Okay, guys, so I'm giving you the first business problem. Okay, so initially you probably will not be able to answer in DEX language, but otherwise you can think on the logic part and tell it to me. Okay, so everyone, please try the answers. So the first business problem is like I want to find out how many transactions we had in this store which were above 10,000 rupees of sales. Question understood? Question understood, everyone?
How many transactions being made till 10,000 sales?
Greater than 10,000, not till 10,000. So basically, what is the use case? What do you think that why a business house needs to do this analysis? Don't you think so now all of you, please assume that you are the sales manager of this superstore, because we would be doing all the analysis from that angle. Okay. So now you tell me, if you are a sales manager, why you would like to find out the number of transactions over 10,000. So have you guys ever got a call from any superstore or market that you are already giving us the sales of 20,000 rupees per year, but there is a premium card we are giving to you that if you would be giving us the sales of 30,000 per year, then we would be giving you 10% off on each and every product? Have you ever got such a call?
Yeah, for example,
Right.
Metro
So
Market.
yes, it happens. So what is the reasoning behind it? The reasoning is, as of now you are doing 20, so giving 10 more is not a big task for you in the greed of 10% offer on each and every product. But will they ever make this call to the person who is giving them 5,000 sales? No, because reaching till 30 from 5 is very, very difficult, right?
Yes.
So they always
Yeah.
do this kind of analysis so that they can create a kind of different membership card for those people. Then probably they will find out the people who are giving them the sales between 5 to 10, and they will design a different kind of membership for them. So have you heard that silver, platinum, gold card and all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how these things are done in the industry? How these things are planned in the management meetings, right? So this is the true industry analysis you need to do. So now tell me, how will you identify out of this data set, like how many transactions we have which are over 10,000 rupees?
We should use filter for that.
Yes. filter is fine. Just give me the logic on this particular data set. I'm not asking you the formula now because you are very, very new. You will not be able to write, right? So for
Order
example,
ID.
guys, if I'm taking a matrix, right? Just pay attention. You are new. I will help you. Don't worry. I'm taking a matrix here. Then I am taking order ID, correct? And
Yes.
I'm taking sales.
Yeah.
So this is giving me the sales for each and every order ID, right?
Yeah.
This particular order ID, whoever placed this order paid us this much amount, right? Now, if I'm taking me the count of sales, what will happen?
It will give complete number of times.
It means what? It means what? When I'm taking the count of sales, what is the meaning of this?
Total transactions.
Total
6134.
transactions, right? If I'm going to the filter section here, taking the sales and saying where my
Greater
sales
than
is
100.
greater than 10,000, right? What will happen? So basically, these are the number of transactions which are greater than 10,000. 5 transactions. And these are the order IDs. Now we can find out using the order IDs who all are the customer to whom we would be giving those membership plans and cards or whatever. So we could actually handle this without DEX also, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But we can do it with DEX also. I will tell you that as well. But when you would be doing it in your companies, always prefer Power BI. Then, if it is not possible in Power BI, then only move to DEX. But now I would be telling you through DEX also so that you can develop that understanding of the database and of DEX. Okay, everyone? So when we are doing one
Okay.
question or one business case using both, probably you would be able to relate and understand better. Correct, everyone? So I'm going to revenue table. Why revenue table? Because all the measures are numeric values and we would be putting them in revenue table. Clear?
Yes.
Clear, everyone? So I'm going to revenue table, clicking on new measure, and I can name it anything to this measure. So I'm writing transaction over 10K. So this is the name of measure. You can name it anything, right? Now, guys, I will start with view functions and describe each and everything. Wherever you have issues, please feel free to raise. Okay. Now, if I'm using count function, whenever you write the name of the function, it will show you what all are the arguments like it does in Excel, right? In Excel, we get the notification, what all arguments we need to supply, right, everyone?
Yes.
So here it says, you can mention the column name and what it will give to me. It will just count the number of rows in that column and give me that count, right?
Yeah.
But that is not my purpose. What I need to do, I need to find out those people who have given me the sales above 10,000 and then I need to count them on the basis of order ID, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a lot of things to mention. So basically count is not the correct function. So what else?
If,
Simply write
if
count and look at the variety of count functions here. So this is one way. What is the second way, guys? Go to that link which I mentioned and try to read about each and every function. What is the purpose and which is the best function for this kind business scenario? So basically here we would be using count X. What is count X? Count X. So guys, each and every function which has X in it. Can you see X here? Count X. So each and every function which has X in its name, that is called iterator. What is the meaning of iterator word in English? Anyone? What is the literal meaning of the word iterator? Iterator means, guys, pay attention. This is very, very important concept. Okay. Let me go back to one Excel sheet and pay attention. So I'm going to Okay. This data set, which we are using in this. Okay, this table. I came here, edit the filter. Now I'm asking you, like, give me the sales count of consumer segment. What you do? You go to segment column, putting the filter for consumer segment, taking the total of sales from here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying that give me the sales count of corporate segment. What will you do? You will go again, remove the filter of consumer, put the filter of corporate, say okay, take the count of sales.
Yes.
So what the control is doing? Control is again and again going to segment column, removing the earlier filter, putting a new filter and looking at the figure. So this is called iteration, where your control is accessing one particular column again and again. Understood? Iterator means चीजों को repeat करना. Repeating something is called iterator. If you look at the literal meaning, again and again, right? So these functions are iterators. So when you need to solve this, what you need to do? Again and again, you will check each and every customer and order ID and check who has given you 10,000 above sales. So what are you doing? The control is going to each and every customer again and again, each and every order ID again and again. So now you need to use iterator function here. So with time, you will develop this understanding and you will straight away find out that one single function that this is the one I need to use, right? Concept number 1. Now concept number 2, guys. What is that concept number 2? Like this is a bigger table for me, right? This one,
Exactly.
right everyone? What I'm doing, right? For example, this data set has a name. So what I'm doing here, I'm declaring it as a table and giving it a name. What is the name of this table? Table 1, right? Now, this particular table has all the data for all the customer, all the segment, everything. But what I want that I should have a separate table where the name of the customer is Mick Brown. I want a separate table. But probably, Hitesh, you will tell me that, ma'am, go ahead and put the filter for Mick Brown. Why you are creating a separate table, right? You can say this to me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But then I would be losing the details of other customers here. I have to remove that filter and then check the other customers, right? So the need is that I want a separate table where the name of the customer is Mick Brown.
Yeah.
What will I do? I'm going to new sheet. Here we have a function in Excel called filter. What are the arguments? Array. What is the array? Table 1, right? And it is asking me what you want in this table, what to include. I am saying table 1 dot
Customer name.
customer name.
Customer name. Equals to Nick Brown.
Just a second. Like this, you need to have a square bracket. Then you will get the list of all the columns. Customer name is equal to, now you can mention that name here.
Nick Brown.
Mick Brown. As soon as you press enter, you will get that sub table only with the customer name Mick Brown. Did you notice this?
Yeah.
So what filter function has done for you? So filter function has basically created a sub table out of a bigger table on the basis of some criteria. Right?
Yeah.
The same filter function we have index also. The only difference is, guys, here you can see the subtable, but in Power BI, that subtable is not visible. It remains somewhere at the back end and you cannot see that. You can just imagine that, right? So I'm closing this sheet, going to Power BI again. Now pay attention what I'm doing. I'm going to new measure. I'm writing transaction over 10K equal to count X. Now what? It says table and expression. It means it is asking me which is the table where you want to run this query and on the basis of what criteria it need to perform count. Clear so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So my bigger data set is these tables. Now I need to tell it which table. So I am saying filter function I'm using here, which is going to create a sub table for me, right? So which is my bigger table, guys? Revenue.
Master.
So from the revenue table, I am creating a sub table where my sales are greater than 10,000.
Yeah.
Right? So this filter function has created a subtable which I cannot see here, but it has a subtable at the back end. So this is the first argument of CountX function, table. Which table? This is the table, right? Right, everyone? Now, what is the second argument? What is the criteria to count? I am saying orders table. Now tell me what to write here.
Order ID.
Revenue table, order item, right? This is my second argument. So what it is doing, this is a subtable where I have only sales which are greater than 10,000. On the basis of order ID, it will give me the count. As soon as I press enter, the formula has been calculated. I'm in stored. Now I am taking a card and I'm plotting this. Transaction over 10,000. It's giving me the same result as this one, 5.
Okay.
Who is not clear with this?
Give another example, ma'am.
Sorry?
Give another scenario.
Yeah, we will cover multiple examples. Don't worry.
Yeah. Can you repeat the syntax again? I just want to look at the formula again. Can we go through that again?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can refer to it. And I'm giving you 5 minutes. You can write it in your machine also. So I'm joining back in 2 minutes. There is some urgency. I need to check. You guys practice this. Guys, did you understand this?
Yes.
Anyone who is not clear? Why we have taken expression as revenue order ID? Because, for example, we have ordered 2 products in one order ID, right? One product cost, for example, 11,000. Another product cost 8,000. Or assume both cost 8,000 each, right? What will happen? If you are looking for one product, it's not going to come under this category. Because we are looking for total sales order ID wise, not product wise. So if we are putting order ID here, it will combine the sales amount of that particular order ID and give us the total. Understood, guys? Understood, everyone?
Here we can take a customer also.
Why customer? Because one customer can come to a store multiple times in a year.
Yeah, if we want to know that how many customers
Because
purchase.
we need to check the transactions. If one customer is coming like 5 times in a year, making 2,000 sales every time, so this is the 10,000 for the entire year.
Yeah.
We are checking like 10,000 per transaction. Like, so the question is different. If that is the question, then you are right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So this is exactly what I was telling you all, that if you have that backend understanding, how the control is moving, how the data set we have at the backend, then only you can write the correct formula. Now that understanding is really important.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you listen me? Can you hear me? I'm here only.
Hello.
Guys, am I audible for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
I'm audible.
Sandeep, you are not able to hear me, I guess. Can you hear me, Sandeep? Everyone else clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have
Yes.
one good week with you, right? Practice all the theoretical part, go through all the formulas once and all that. And if you want to strong it, you can also look for some industry cases outside, not now, but after your next week sessions. So next two classes next week, we would be covering a lot of more such scenarios, like somebody was asking me or some more examples. So of course, we will be covering a lot. I just wanted to give you a rough idea how to write the formula. So 3 functions we learned, sum, countex, filter, right? Right, everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So practice well and we catch up next Saturday, 4 p.m. Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye.